right, welcome to another episode of the STB Podcast. Tonight, I'm really excited to have my next guest, Germie Bernard, man, Alabama's all everything wide receiver. Was kind enough to join me on a bye week. What's up, man? How you doing, Germie?
I'm good, man. Just enjoying this time off, getting to rejuvenate my body a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. You guys are having an incredible season, especially from where it started with the setback at Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
Just briefly tell me real quick, what's that journey been like this season? I know we're a little past the halfway point. There's a lot more to go, but what do you credit with the turnaround that you guys have had?
Honestly, man, it was good. I mean, like obviously we don't want to lose, but it was really good for us to go through, just as a team and to bring togetherness into our program. We harp on that a lot, and just being player led instead of coaches led. And we have a lot of guys on this team that are hungry and that have one goal in mind, and that's to win the Natty. And we've been through a lot as a team, and we just reflect back on like the summer days. Coach Blue always, he goes back to that. He kind of reminds us of that, just letting us know how hard we work for this, and that everything we want is in front of us. So we just focus on each week, and like we don't really harp on. We don't try to like focus too much on the future or in the past. We try to be in the moment because we know that none of that other stuff really matters at the end of the day. Like, okay, we won a game, cool. It's the next one. So and we have a hard schedule, and we know that we have to bring our best each week. So we just like in the moment focus as a team. We're focused on that. So,
and I think you can see that this past weekend, right? Like you had your toughest, arguably, closest game you've had really since FSU. The way you've been tested, you were at South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
You came out big in that game. Tell me what was going through your mind. I think you scored twice in like 3 minutes, right?
Yeah.
3 minutes towards the end of the game to pull out the victory. Tell me like what your mindset is like in those kind of crucial moments, and as a team, what you guys saw, what you saw from your team last week in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, from my standpoint, well, I'll say from the team standpoint first. We just knew that it was still a time in the game that we have to keep fighting. Coach G, the running backs coach, he brought the offense together, and he was like, "Look, we got 15 more minutes to fight, y'all. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just go out there and leave it all. Like, you know what I'm saying? We've been tested. We've been through close games. Like this ain't really none of us. And a lot of guys, I mean, we ain't flinch. Like." We embraced that we were down. We knew we had all the playmakers we need to, be able to come back and make it happen. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's what guys did. Guys showed up in crucial moments to, make that game happen. And then like personally, I mean, I just like that game. It was tough for me because I left a lot of plays out there I knew I could have made, and I didn't make them. But you have to have gratitude when it comes to this game. Like you have to be grateful for the ups and downs in the game. So, I kind of just was reflecting on the sideline and just getting myself together. And I'm like, I got to continue to fight and make plays, for this team. So, when those plays were called, I just knew I had to just do my job and, let God gifted ability take over after that. So yeah, I just kept fighting mentally, and then our team just coming together and trusting each other. Not flinching and embracing the adversity we knew that we were going to face.
Yeah, in terms of like, I love what you said about it. Almost, talking about staying in the moment, right, and realizing, hey, if I made a mistake or I'm not playing well, I can basically correct it. There's always the opportunity to make the next play. Athletes struggle with that. Is that something you work on like mentally with your preparation, or where does that calm and presence come from?
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly it's hard to work on that as an athlete, just because we have so much pressure on us. But I just really reflect, and I lean back on my faith in those times, because I know that, God put me here for a reason. And I know that, he gave me the abilities to, go out here and do this. And I know there's always going to be adversity, going, on the path of God. And that's how it's always going to be. But, he's the one that gives us strength to get through those times. And, when you lean on him, I mean, a lot of things will go good in your life, and just like having that mindset of knowing that it's gonna be adversity, but how I'm gonna attack the adversity, like that's the biggest, I would say, mindset change that happened for me is knowing like this football game, like God bless us to do this. Like he blessed us to have this platform and play this game. So we just have to have like, gratitude in the moments of, adversity. Like, so I was just like, for me, I would just encourage other athletes to, really understand like what their foundation is based on, and because if your foundation is not set on the right things, it can really mess with you mentally, like as a football player, because we go through so much as well already.
Ab- Absolutely. And let's back up a little bit. Tell us a little bit, because you had an interesting journey to end up at Alabama, right?
Yeah.
An unlikely path. So tell a little bit about you. Like first of all, when did you start? How old were you when you start? Where are you from? When did you start playing football? And a little bit about the journey that
Mhm.
got you to Alabama.
So I'm from Vegas. I've been playing football since I was about 4.5 years old. I always love football. I mean, I seen my brother start playing when he was 12, so I was watching him. And then, I mean, I was just always, watch it on TV. And then, I don't know, it's just a game that I always love. I love being outside, playing outside. I played a lot of basketball and a lot of football outside on the street before I went into real football. Then my dad put me into tackle football. And then after that, I just kept growing. I first started off as a O lineman, blocking and whatnot. And then,
An O
uh,
lineman.
yeah, that was my first year. I was an O lineman, and I played defense too. And then the next season, I went to running back, and after that, I was a running back for a very long time. And then I got to middle school, like seventh, eighth grade. I started playing a little receiver, playing some DB. And then when I went into high school, that's when I really started, training and stuff at receiver. And I got my first offer going into my sophomore year of high school. And then I committed later on my sophomore year to the University of Washington.
Mhm.
I was committed to them for 2 years. They had a few coaching changes, but I stayed committed. I had a good relationship with the receiver coach, Junior Adams. And then, so yeah, I mean, um, Coach DeBoer got the job. I met him. He came to my house. We spoke, and I basically just told him like, I mean, I've been, committed to this place for 2 years. I built, really long lasting relationships. And the last one was my position coach. And I just told Coach DeBoer, like, look, like, for me to come, like, he has to be there with me. Like that's my only like
Yeah.
that's my only comfort spot in going there now. Like, what I'm saying, everybody had left that I knew and whatnot. Um, and so yeah, so I signed with them, and then I was an early enrollee, so I was gonna start school January 3rd, and I flew out. Me and my family, we flew out there January 1st to go out there and move. And then like when I got to Seattle, Coach Adams called me and told me that he got the job at Oregon. So then I was just like, dang, I didn't really know what to do. I bet with Coach DeBoer and Coach Grub and them, I was just letting them know how I felt about everything. And I made the ultimate decision to um, come back home. And my mentor, he had good ties with Michigan State, and I ended up going to Michigan State, and it was really good for me there. I met a lot of good people. I grew as a person. It helped
Mhm.
shape me into the man that I am now. I went through a lot of adversity. I overcame a lot of things, and it's just it kind of started molding me into being a man, because my freshman year, not knowing how to balance everything, focused on just the football, and not balancing the school part, and just all the off the life. I mean, like your life choices and whatnot. And I ended up failing the class, and just typical freshman stuff. Being late to a
Yeah.
meeting once, and then coach got on me, and I started being around older guys like Keon Coleman and Jaden Reed. When I started getting around those guys, I seen like what it was going to take. And so I'm grateful for those guys, and we had a good season. While I was there, I learned a lot from Coach Hawkins. He really helped me grow as a receiver, and then
Yeah.
I mean ultimately just the scheme. I just felt like wasn't gonna help me, be the receiver I know I can be, and so
Mhm.
yeah, I ended up in the portal, and Coach DeBoer, he contacted me, and I was like, okay. All right, I seen everything that they did. I knew Coach DeBoer. Me and him, we had a good relationship from the start, and he was recruiting me really hard. Like he didn't want me to leave, but he respected my choices, and so just for him to give me that opportunity was a blessing, and just going back there, it showed me a lot as well. Like all these
Mhm.
places have built me into the player I am today. Just being behind like NFL pro athletes right now, like Rome and
Mhm.
Jalen Polk and Jalen McMillan, and just
Mhm.
catching from guys like Mike. Like it's crazy how God shows you certain things in your life before you can even understand. Like I'm going behind these guys, and I'm learning from behind these NFL players, and God is just preparing me, the way. And I never knew I would be here at Alabama, but Coach DeBoer, he got the job here, and he wanted me here, and now I'm here. But it's just crazy how like I said, how God works. Like I said, my sophomore year, I told one of my linebacker coaches. He asked me what was my top 5 dream schools, and I said 5 of them, and Alabama was
Yeah.
one of them. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But I never was recruited by them, so I never ever thought about coming here. But like I said, God works in mysterious ways, and He prepared me, you know, through those different stages of life, going to Michigan State, going to Washington,
Yeah.
preparing me for this moment so I can be able to steward it the right way.
Yeah. That's talk about full circle, right? So to recap, you were on campus beginning of January for
hmm
Washington.
hmm
Coach Adams gets the Oregon job. You went back home to regroup, right? Left Washington, went to Michigan State, ended up transferred to Washington with Coach DeBoer.
hmm
Obviously learned a ton there. And then when Coach DeBoer and Coach Shep came to Alabama, transferred to Alabama.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And talk, obviously, I know Coach Shep very well. He raves about you, man. You. I think you were hurt one year, and he was telling me when you were at Washington or something. He was like,
hmm
"Man, I'm telling you, that dude's the one." Tell me about a little bit about just Coach Shep and the relationship you guys have.
Well, man, I wanna thank Coach Shep a ton because he has really influenced me in my faith. When I first got to Washington, I didn't have a Bible. I wasn't um, in my faith. I wasn't praying and whatnot.
Mm,
And so when I got well before I got there, and he was recruiting me out of the portal. He came to the house, and he was just really energetic. Like you could feel his spirit, his good spirit on him. Like his spirit was just so high, and my parents and them, they wasn't expecting Coach Shep to be how he was. Like he's
he's
loud,
on
and
10 all the
you know what I'm
time.
saying. He's on 10 all the time, and but he's just super genuine, and he really cares for his guys, and he's gonna get the best out of you. He's gonna challenge you, but he's also gonna help you grow as a man, and that's what I really love about him. And then just even on top of that, just him influencing his guys and the people around him, in his faith and trying to lead others to them as well.
Yeah, awesome. All right, I appreciate him. All right, so money questions, right? Obviously, this is secure the bag. We educate athletes. I've been super impressed with you and in our conversations that we've had. What when you obviously we're with this NIL era, right, where guys are getting big money. What is something that what would you say is something that surprised you about getting money that you might not have thought, right? Compared to what you thought it would feel like before you had it.
hmm
Like, is there
Um,
anything that surprised you? Like, Um, how does it feel in this era, like where you compared to what when you're a kid and you're playing football, you're dreaming of, hey, well, I would love to have like, is anything surprised you about it?
I mean, not really, because I mean, to a certain extent, I feel like the college athletes they've been deserving. Like even from before our time,
Mhm.
we just wasn't able to because we work hard and nobody really knows what you go through. As any athlete, to be honest, you go through a lot. Um, and it's a lot on your body, it's a lot on your mind, and so like I just feel like it's very deserving. Um, I do think it's having an effect on college football and how people, even parents and players, how they're looking at different schools and what their priorities are within the each program that they're getting recruited by. So I think it's having an effect on that. But like I said, for the most part, I think it's deserving.
Yeah, no, I think it's long overdue. I think in terms of getting the money and all of that, right? And what has your mindset been with it in terms of like how you spend it, how you save it? Like when you're thinking about, because obviously I've seen outcomes all over the spectrum. Guys that are saving every penny, guys that are spending every penny, right? And then guys that have nice stuff, they're doing both, they're managing. What's your mindset been with it, and how have you kind of navigated that and how have you grown in the last couple of years with it?
hmm So I got a great community behind me. Like I got my mom, my dad, my mentors. I got people that are helping me on the financial side, and like my mindset has always, like, my parents have really instilled it to me to like save money. So like my mindset is to save money, but to also use the gift that God blessed me with to be able to give others and put other people in the right position and whatnot. But like I also want to empire too. Like he blessed me with with this platform and the money for a reason. He also he trusts me with it, so I want to be able to invest in the right things. Just for the future and my retirement and what I'm gonna do when I have a family. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of different things that I think of when it comes to the financial side of it. I know I'm trying to set myself up for something bigger than just what I have right now. What I'm saying, football is gonna end when what I'm saying, soon, a couple years maybe, and so I just have to be prepared to go out into the real world and create connections and how am I gonna use all the resources that I have right now to be able to keep building after football.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great answer. And after football, is there something that you're thinking about? I know we've had discussions about future and all those things, but what is something that you thinking about? Hey, after the game, it would be nice to be able to do.
Man, honestly, man, like I want to be some type of I want to be a life coach. I want to be able to have like my own training facility where I can train kids, but also teach them. Like I want to teach my own curriculum to people.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And then you got the Walk with God shirt on. We talked about your faith. You did something very special this past weekend, right?
Mhm.
Off the football field. Tell me a little bit about that and how that came about.
Man, just honestly, like just praying to God and asking Him for, an opportunity to be able to impact people, allow people to learn off of, my journey, and to turn hearts to you, and just praying that to Him. He put it on my heart to use the platform that I have to be able to have like influence, and he shined his light on that night, man. It was an audience of one, praise and worship night. I had great people behind me helping me. I had, shout out to my good friend Joe Williams at Church of the Highlands, and all the people over there. They really helped me. And then just Greg Byrne, he helped me put this on, the AD of our university,
Hmm.
and just all the behind the scenes stuff that they had to go through to be able to put this on. So I was really grateful for it, and like I told them, at the night, I told them that this night it's not about anybody else but God, like what I mean, and turning hearts and allowing people to fellowship with other believers. So it was a great night. It was.
Okay, that's awesome. And my last question for you, when you said you started playing football at like 4.5, 5 years
hmm
old.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, thinking back on just being a kid and your journey, right? And your story's still being written, but what do you think younger you would be most proud of you for at this point?
I think younger me would be proud of how I've just been a student of the game, and picking up on stuff, and learning. Yeah, I'll say that.
The way your approach to your craft.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. That's great. All right, Jeremy, good luck rest of the season, man. I appreciate you. I know you're going to do great things, and I know there's a lot of ball left, but enjoy the bye weekend.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.